Welcome to Kellyanne Cares, a one-of-a-kind show created to motivate, stimulate, educate, and inspire you, personally and professionally. Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm an entrepreneur, patient advocate, content creator, and author. You may know me from the Everything is Messy book, brand, and podcast. But what you may not know is how hard I had to work to get me to where I am today. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And in this season, I'm more driven and extremely passionate about my purpose to help you save the time, money, and energy it takes to be happier and get healthier with your mind, body, business, and life. Tune in every week to hear raw, unfiltered conversations from myself and my incredible guests as we discuss trending topics, share stories of resilience, and chat about all things health, wealth, healing, and wellness. Whether you're here to listen, learn, or laugh, I promise to bring awareness and add more value to your day. Take this time to relax and recharge. Listen, life is short. Invest in yourself. Be loud, be different, be you, and most importantly, enjoy the ride. Buckle up because today's podcast experience starts now. One more thing, sharing is caring. I would love your thoughts on today's episode. Head on over to Apple Podcasts to rate, review, and subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. Want to continue the conversation? Let's connect online. You can find me at kellyanngorman.com and all my social links are in the show notes. Now let's get into today's show. Hello. Welcome to a very special show for the Kellyanne Cares podcast. If you press play today, I know that you are searching for more information on how you can start your podcast today. Now, if you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Kellyanne Gorman. I'm a podcaster, obviously, an author, a patient advocate, a UGC creator, a digital entrepreneur, and I'm obsessed with getting you more organized so that you can become more productive in both your business and life, and personally and professionally, and all of the things. Now, I launched this show 6 years ago. Podcasting has completely changed my life. Once I launched my own show, I had so many people reach out asking me how I did it. So I created different products and programs and services that needed to exist that didn't then. Something that I have now that was in such high demand is my podcast school, because everybody wants to learn, right? I had to teach myself everything I know now, and now that's my job to do the same thing for you. So again, if you are ready to start your podcast today, this episode is for you, because Start Your Podcast Today is for motivated individuals who are ready to get to work and turn that idea and passion into a creative and profitable podcast. There are so many ways that you can make money from a podcast, but more importantly, you have this fire in your gut. You have this message to share with the world. When I launched my show back in 2017, my show was called the Happy Workaholic Podcast. It then rebranded to Everything is Messy, the title of my book, which then rebranded to the Kellyanne Cares Podcast, which is what you're listening to now. So, 6 years ago, I launched my show when I had quote unquote a autoimmune disease, and I needed to help other patients, professional patients like myself at that time, go through mental health situations and the struggles and the triumphs and just everyday life of having an autoimmune disease. And I wanted to help more patients like me out there. But I was also a business and LinkedIn coach. So I tied it all in together. It's just like my book. It's a 2-in-1. It's vegan cookbook plus 10 chapters of personal development. What I do is create things that need to exist. I've always been a creative person. I've always needed a creative outlet, and that's just my thing. So when you have that fire in your gut, like that sensation, that burning, like yearning, and you're journaling the hell out of things, and you're like, I want this so bad, I want to help more people, or you're doing it because the information doesn't exist. Like, I create things that need to exist. Like, you see a hole in the marketplace or a hole online, you're like, why isn't anybody talking about this? Especially in the medical department or holistic healing, or maybe it's a different way of doing business. If you feel that fire, it is time to start recording, and you can market and monetize it in so many ways. And that's what Start Your Podcast Today is all about, because you go at your own pace. So it's a uniquely structured program for individuals like you who are craving a show, as well as even current podcasters looking for a refresh. So podcast hosts, podcast managers, producers who are ready to take content, marketing, and production of their show to a totally different level so that you can honestly serve more listeners and attract more brands. And it's like, if you are still in research mode, it is totally fine. If you're ready to launch, if you're looking for marketing, SEO information, monetization strategies, you're ready to take your ideas in that show to the next level you just deserve to be at, Start Your Podcast Today is exactly what you are going to need. Because I do have a full development service. I do have a podcast auditing service. I do have a production service. But this is a program that you get me in your back pocket and you get to teach yourself. And then I am along for the ride. You get to ask me all the questions. You get to drill me. You get to get videos from me. Like, you want to learn, like I really had no choice to learn because I had $0 to spend and invest. I literally paid $1.17 for my GoDaddy.com. My first month for my podcast hosting was free. And I had no other choice at that time because I immediately needed to monetize something so that I could, survive. And so I totally forgot to turn my phone off. But listen, you can be as creative as you possibly can with a podcast. There are no rules in podcasting. I preach this, and I have been preaching this since 2017. Do I heavily produce my own shows? Absolutely not. Am I going to leave that little jingle in there? Yes, I am, because this content you are listening to right now is way more important than me taking 20 minutes to edit. It actually wouldn't even take me 20 minutes, but you catch my drift. So Start Your Podcast Today is something I created out of another demand, because a lot of other people that were following me online and people I was connecting with in real life, they wanted to learn. So I'm like, how can I do this? So I put together this school. So it's on-demand audio, so you can listen at your own pace, but you better come prepared because I school you, but it is at your own pace. So if you are a stay-at-home mom or a working mom, or you're a professional, or you're pivoting, or you just are working like crazy, or whatever the case may be, we all have crazy lives. We all have crazy schedules. And I know this is a fact. So I wanted to put something together so that you could do it at your own pace, but also text me and be like, oh my God, is this right? Is this what I'm thinking is right? Like, you need somebody to bounce your ideas off of that you know, like, and trust. And that's going to be me. I will be in your back pocket, and I will be holding your hand along the way, because the production part could be really easy for you, but the writing part could be really hard. And we are going to be with each other throughout this whole process until you launch. So Start Your Podcast Today is on-demand audio. You get video lessons, and you get one-on-one coaching calls with yours truly, me. So I get to be there with you this whole podcasting journey. How long does it take to launch a podcast? That is my number one question. How can I make money from a podcast? That is another question I get all of the time. So let me just break it down to you. So making money, there's 3 ways. You can become an affiliate for programs, products, services that you love. Share those links in the show notes, and you're getting a kickback. Your Amazon store could be one of them. Your Fetch Rewards, your Repurpose.io, your Backblaze. I'm just naming a few of mine. I get kickbacks on those. I share links and I make money. So if you're sharing those in your show notes, your listeners are going to click on them. You're running ads. That's another way. That's another way for you to make money, but also driving traffic to things that you already have on a website or a landing page on your Stan store. I'm dropping names of things that I've been using for years to specifically give you examples. So if you have your own programs, products, services, like a physical, tangible thing, or something that you sell online, or an ebook, you're going to share that on your show. Anything you put in the SEO version of your show notes, people are searching and they will find you. And there's other ways where they can find you, but you have got to put in the work. People are not going to magically find your show. No matter how much you SEO it, you've got to learn how to market and monetize it. And these are the ways that I explained throughout our whole entire time together, throughout the Start Your Podcast Today school. But also, if you're like, oh my God, I'm so confused, I have all these products, like, how do I put them together? There's a lot of tools that are also free online. I no longer have a virtual assistant because I invested in Repurpose.io. That's a tool that I use to repurpose all of my content, specifically my podcast, to all of my outlets online, social media channels. That's what I mean to say by outlets. And TikTok is number 1. TikTok is where I start all of my videos, which then get repurposed to YouTube, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Pinterest, anything SEO I care about. Facebook, Meta, Instagram, like, it all goes there, but I'm not like a big fan of those. So you got to see what works for you. You could have a massive audience on Facebook and it can work so well for you, but it just doesn't for me. So that's it. Everything is trial and error too. You've got to see like what your audience likes. You know, I do a lot of polls. I do a lot of quizzes. I'm constantly asking, like, what kind of content do you want to hear more of? This show is a show for your mind, body, business, and life. I talk about a lot. So if you don't care about podcasting, then don't listen to the podcasting shows. If you want to learn everything about LinkedIn, then you go to kellyanngorman.com, top right search bar, you type in LinkedIn, and all of your episodes will pop up. That's how easy it is. So there's different series, there's different ways of organizing, there's different seasons, there's different chapters, and it's a different journey for everybody when it comes to podcasting. And you just need to remember that, because you can't like go off based, off of somebody else's idea or mimic their way. Like, you've got to go with your gut, and you have to be super passionate, and you have to have an important message to share. And sometimes social media isn't enough with that. So that's why a podcast can do all of that for you. Like I said, back in 2017, like, I wanted to help so many more patients so badly, and I wasn't hitting enough, like, through all of my social media channels. And back then I was a huge Facebook Live girly, and those I do no longer, but I still get messages to this day, from people from 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, watching Facebook Lives, messaging me, which those all got repurposed into episodes. And it's just like unreal, the reach that you can have. This show is 6 years old, and we're in almost 100 countries. Like, how the hell is that even possible? It is. It's possible with a podcast. Now, friendly reminder, I already mentioned, but you have no rules, and you can be as creative as possible. There are no rules in podcasting. If somebody tells you there's rules, literally stop listening to them. This is a creative outlet. You can turn it into a business and monetize it, but you can be as creative and passionate as you want. Your message is to, share to help more people. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? You've got to have a reason, Something else that's really important is being more consistent and becoming consistent and being very different with your show, and knowing that you need to show up. If you're going to take a break, you tell your audience. This is why you need to have newsletters. This is why you need to be on social platforms and not just hang out on one. I literally just had an issue with a client the other day, and she's like, oh my God, my link isn't working on TikTok. I'm like, good thing you're on all the other outlets. Remember a couple of years ago when Facebook and Instagram went down? Everybody was like, why don't I have an email list? That is why. You do not own social media platforms. What you will own is your podcast. And that is a global platform which you could turn into a monetization and a business and a brand as well. Now, going back to what is included in Start Your Podcast Today, and finding a community, growing a community, building a relationship with your listeners, like, all these things are so important. So you've got to find your voice. You've got to create content that you truly love. And then you just start writing. If you're not into writing, I have tips and tricks throughout the whole entire school to help you get there. Honestly, I've taken journal entries and turned them into books. So you just never know what's going to happen. But you learn how to write your intro, write your outro, write your show bio, find royalty-free music. I go down this deep, dark tunnel of music because I'm always looking for, like, movie scores that you would hear, like, on the Golden Globes. I don't know why. I really love the production aspect and the music aspect now because I've been doing this for so long. But I give you all the links that you could possibly need. Honestly, YouTube creators is my favorite place to find current trending music. That's my favorite. But you're also going to learn social media integration, how to repurpose it, as I mentioned, how to build and grow and nurture your community, how to actually launch and, like, what a plan should look like, how to even record. I'm recording on a brand new iPhone right now. Do I have a mic and all of the fancy equipment? Yes, I do. Do I ever use it? Not right now, no, because I'm not in my studio, but I am currently looking for a new one. I record on my phone. I know how to produce pretty well, so the sound quality is, like, I'd say 99% like of what it would be if I was in my studio. So you just got to play around with certain things, but when it comes to recording and production, that part might be a little bit tricky for you. So that's where all the video lessons come in, and why it's so important that we have one-on-one calls, because it could be really nerve-wracking. I mean, when I was recording my audiobook, that was so hard for me because I'm so used to, speaking to you like this, where when I was recording my audiobook, it was verbatim, and I was, like, driving me nuts because I was producing it as well. And I'm like, this is a lot of work. Like, I really didn't think it was going to be that hard because I'm like, oh, it's like another podcast. But I have notes in front of me for every show that I share with you. But reading a book verbatim and using my voice in different ways, I actually pulled muscles in my vocal cords and had to see specialists because I just like overdid it. So you really need to know like how to use your voice and how to stay low and how to be calm and how to not talk so fast like I do all the time. And, you know, there's so many ways that you can use your voice. Like my clients that I develop their shows for them, which is another service that I have. It's called Your Podcast Production. Basically, they give me their idea and I turn it into a completely developed show. We're with each other the whole time, but I'm doing all the work. Where with this service, Start Your Podcast Today, you want to learn and it's at your own pace. So that's the difference, really. But also, I always write the intro and outro for those clients, and then I'm recording the demos for them, and then I'm sending them to them so that they can hear how to use your voice up and down and sad, and, you know, like there's a lot to it. And being organized, scheduled, batching content, routine, consistent, like all of these things play such a part when it comes to starting your podcast and growing it as well. Hosting and syndication, we go over that. How to pitch, how to create a deck, a PDF, a media kit, all of those things. You have to have those. So when brands come out and they're trying to get a hold of you and they want to know your downloads, your numbers, your stats, you're like, copy, paste, here's my link, thank you, goodbye. Like, have things in your phone ready to go. I'm constantly pitching people. I'm constantly on the go. I have everything I could possibly need to run my entire business on my devices, except for when I have to sit down and I have to produce. So other than that, I'm always on my phone. I'm always like, go, go, go. Everything is like copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. I'm so organized. So if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I will literally send you a visual of how I work on my device. It's a very routine, strategic, work smarter, not harder situation, to be honest with you, because nobody has time for all these extra things. There goes my phone again. So there are no rules. You can change it anytime. So like I mentioned, this show has been rebranded 3 times, and that's okay. And I used to give myself like, you know, I put a lot of pressure on myself with everything that I do and grow and build. But when it came to a rebrand, like you've got to, again, go with your gut. Like it just didn't feel right. And after I was misdiagnosed and I went through all the medical malpractice, I didn't want to be the happy workaholic anymore. I just affiliated that entire brand with like being sick. And then that next chapter of my life, my book released, and my book is titled Everything is Messy. And I'm like, that would just make so much more sense if my show was Everything is Messy as well. And then we go hand in hand with each other. Well, I only did a few episodes like that. And I'm like, I just don't, there goes my phone again. And then it didn't feel like me. It felt like the book should have its own stage and the podcast should have its own stage. And then I'm like, I just want everything to be like more personal. Like I want to be myself. Like I care. I want it. So that's how Kellyanne Cares was born. And I've never felt so connected to something as I do with this show now, because it is about your mind, your body, your business, and your life. And those are things that I'm so passionate about that I had to include in the show. I can't just talk about one thing. Come on. So besides everything else that I've mentioned, the branding message, designs, how to make your podcast profitable, anything about affiliate marketing, SEO, recording, producing, show notes. I'm literally reading my notes verbatim. I already explained how you can make money, how you can edit this out, all these little beeps. This is a perfect explanation. I'm going to show you how to take those beeps out and these little chimes and annoying things I forgot to turn off on my phone because I have 3 phones in front of me. And that is such a great example because I can literally show you on the file over our video chats, like how to take that out. And you're going to be like, holy shit, I can produce my own podcast. Like, that's fucking amazing. I never thought I would be a podcast producer. I was a professional makeup artist for over 2 decades, traveling the world. Now I produce podcasts and I'm a professional writer and entrepreneur. Like, who knew? You never, ever know. I thought I was going to be blind and paralyzed and die at one point and being overdosed with all this chemo. Then I moved forward with my medical malpractice cases because I was no longer sick. I'm so healthy now. And I'm like, who knew? So you just never know. I got a second chance of life. Podcasting completely changed my life. And I'm just obsessed with helping you and anybody else that you know start writing and start sharing your message and start getting on a mic and recording, producing and throwing up your shows and starting to help more people in the new year. This is so important. I'm so passionate about it. And again, Start Your Podcast Today is for motivated individuals who are ready to get to work and turn that idea into a passionate, creative, and profitable podcast. And so I went over all the notes, and I'm going to drop the link in the show notes. If you are ready to start your podcast today, I will give you a super special discount. But you have to mention the word, did I just say world? The word, what's the word? Share. How about just share? The word is share. No, that's dumb. What's the word? Let's just say, just let me know. Why can't I think of a word? See, this is what happens when I record late in the day. This is another thing, and I know better. My podcasts sound best when I record early in the morning. Well, before noon, let's just say that. When it's later on the day, I've had some carbs, I'm tired, I'm talking a mile a minute, but I know what I want to say. I have my notes. I'm prepared. I've been ready since 5 o'clock this morning. This week is very hectic with like all of my producing and writing. But also when I know I have to write, and I have to write a lot, I actually get all of that work done at like 4 to 8 a.m. Like no joke. My alarm is set for 4:10. I'm up and at 'em, coffee in hand, usually around like 6, because I try to have my electrolyte water and like hydrate and all of that good stuff. And then I get my best writing done. I know myself, and you will get to know yourself too when you start writing and recording, and you have to find like pockets of time. Right now I'm like running around like a lunatic. So I'm like, okay, when is it going to be quiet, and when can I go sit in the car? Because this is basically my mobile studio at this point, because I don't have my studio like I had in San Diego. So it makes it very difficult, especially with guests, to record. But you've got to know all of this, and it's trial and error. And I myself am such a perfectionist. So I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this. I have to do that. But then sometimes I just say, F it. And I put that shit out on the internet. And that is when my videos get the most views. That is when my podcasts get the most downloads. So don't overthink things. Just fucking release the information and share your message with the world. Because if you are still listening, you are fired up, you are ready to go. If you are like, I have no budget, we can do a payment plan. I don't care. You just need to share your message with the world. That's why you're here. That's why you're feeling this like fire inside of you. And I'm going to be there to help you. That's it. And we're going to be best friends at the end of the day. Promise. So start your podcast today. Just give me the word special. That's good. If you say special, slide into my DMs. It's $800 off. That's actually the original pre-sale pricing, but the word is special. So I'm going to write that down because I'll forget. Be like, why are all these people messaging me special? Because I'm recording at like 5 at night, and this is not the norm for me. But again, my message is more important than the perfection of what I would normally do in the morning. So it all ties into this perfect little podcast episode for you. So again, if you are ready to start your podcast today, you have any questions whatsoever, my number is in the show notes. You can text me. You can message me on my website. You can slide into my DMs on any of my social media platforms. And also, if you're still listening because you're just like curious or you're listening for somebody else, that's really nice of you, by the way. But you can become an affiliate from moi. So if you go to kellyannegorman.com, you can sign up to become an affiliate. So you make 10% profit as soon as the person you send to me signs up for actually any of my programs, products, and services. And that's it. I mean, that's a great way for you to make passive income just because you like my content. So there's so many other ways that you can make money from a podcast, just working with podcasters. And if you want to learn more information about that, like just hit me up. I'm an open book, as I mentioned. So that is it for today. I'm so excited to be sharing this information. And now stay tuned for the next episode because it's going to be about how you can leverage your LinkedIn today, my other school. But again, just to do a quick little recap, Start Your Podcast Today is on-demand audio, podcast experience. It comes with video lessons. I think there's like 10 or 12. And then one-on-one coaching calls. I think there's like 8 or 10. I always over-deliver because I really want to make sure that like you get the best show out there. I'm the queen bee of launching. I'm obsessed with getting organized to become more productive, as I mentioned earlier, but I am here to help you launch your podcast. So if you're ready to do that today, hit me up, click the links in the show notes, and I will talk to you again soon. Thanks so much for tuning in to Kellyanne Cares, a one-of-a-kind show created to motivate, stimulate, educate, and inspire you. And I hope that happened for you today. As I mentioned in the intro, I would love your feedback on today's episode. Head to Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app to leave a review for the show. I would truly appreciate it. For more information on myself, the show, my book, and the programs, products, and services I've created, visit kellyanngorman.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for my weekly newsletter, join the podcast community, and check out the brands I'm currently loving. Let's continue today's conversation. You can connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Kellyanne Gorman Official. All my other social handles will be available for you in the show notes. If you have a product, brand, story, or service you would like to share on the show, send me a message on kellyanngorman.com today. As always, thanks for listening, sharing, and reviewing. I wouldn't be here without you, and I'm so grateful I get to do what I love each and every day. Wishing you a happy, healthy, positive, and productive day, and I'll talk to you again soon.